Matt Ducey.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It gives me a great honour to rise for the second reading of the Social Assistance Portability to Cook Islands, Niue and Tokelau Bill. Can I say kia rana, taloha ni and whakalaufa lahi atu? I do hope I've got that right with my southern accent. And I must say, Mr Speaker, I have a connection to the Cook Islands. Not in the sense of ancestry, but I did propose to my wife in Rarotonga, and like many people go there for their weddings, I went to spend some time there for a friend's wedding and looked at the beautiful country, and I thought, there's a good place. I'd very much like to propose to... My wife's actually from a landlocked country, so I thought, what a great opportunity to propose to her in a beautiful island. And I can fully understand why people, not only people from Niue, Tokelau, and the Cook Islands would want to retire there, but all New Zealanders. And it's great that this bill will give them the freedom and the choice to be able to retire there without being resident and present in New Zealand at the age of 65. So, Mr Speaker, this bill amends payments for the New Zealand superannuation or veterans' pensions in Cook Islands, Niue and Tokelau, where currently people have to be resident and present in New Zealand at the age of 65. Individuals need to have spent 10 years here since the age of 20, and 5 of them after the age of 50. So the change, Mr Speaker, will allow applicants who live in the Cook Islands, Tokelau and Niue to apply for their New Zealand super or their veterans' pensions from these places rather than from New Zealand. And this effect, Mr Speaker, people will be able to leave New Zealand and go and live in Cook Islands, Niue and Tokelau after the age of 55, rather than having to be in the country at 65 to qualify and collect their pension. This bill, Mr Speaker, has been a long-standing request from leaders of Cook Islands, Tokelau and Niue. We had over 12.5 submitters, all favourable to this bill, and as my colleague Alfred Naro mentioned, we had the dignitaries as well, but I just wanted to mention one group of submitters, if I may. They were the Concerned Community Collective, and the Concerned Community Collective was an informal group of Christchurch community leaders who were descendant from Cook Islands, Niue and Tokelau, who came together in December 2014 just purely for the purpose of this bill, and it was great to receive their submission. Their membership consists of approximately 30 members with a group range of their ages from 28 to 75. So it just shows you the appeal of this bill and people wanting to submit. They all came from a diverse background of cultures, and it was very important and valuable for them to be part of this process and submit. So the Concerned Community Collective said they supported the Social Assistance Portability Bill and the changes it made to the existing rules for applying for superannuation. They also talked, and some of my parliamentary colleagues this afternoon, have also talked about the unique relationship with peoples of the realm of New Zealand, with the foundation of this relationship being defined by New Zealand citizenship and nationality of these countries. They were not too happy, though, they say here, Mr Speaker, despite this, these countries of the realm have been categorised as Pacific migrants, afforded the same conditions as 19 other Pacific nations whose citizens are not New Zealand nationals. But altogether, Mr Speaker, they supported the bill and the intent of the bill. We also had another submitter, the Royal New Zealand Return Service Association, and if I can deviate slightly, Mr Speaker, it's the first time I've been able to speak in the House since Anzac Day, and just to acknowledge the sacrifice of the young men from my region of Waimakariri, but of course Canterbury, New Zealand, and these countries as well, who paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms and the choices that we have in New Zealand today. As a young backpacker, I was very fortunate to travel Turkey and the Gallipoli Peninsula and spend some time on Anzac Cove on reflection, and also spend some time up at Chunuk Bair, which we held for some small amount of time. And it really hit home to me the great lengths our young people went to protect this country, and the great lengths that we must go to ensure that they are remembered for another 100 years. And I was very fortunate to be part of the preparations, which included the opening of the Christchurch RSA, the oldest RSA in the country, the opening of the educational wing at Ranadale Rehabilitation Hospital. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So coming back to this bill, ultimately this bill reduces the fact that individuals need to be resident and present in New Zealand, which is a requirement for the special portability bill, and very much feeds into that National Party value of freedom and choice. But as Alfred Naro mentioned, this is not just about for people from these three countries, but also all New Zealanders who will be able to go out and qualify for New Zealand super or veterans pensions at the age of 65. And I'm thinking very much what a great place to go and retire. It could be like the Algarve of the Pacific, the Benidorm of the Pacific, and it's great that these people will get the freedom and choice to retire to these countries. We're not talking about a small number, a large number here, Mr. Speaker. It is a small number of people involved. Tokelau Niue have less than 1,500 in their population. We're looking at a number of only 650 who are receiving New Zealand super in the Pacific, and 300 of these in the Cook Islands itself. So the forecasted numbers for this benefit are about 245, with an increase of about 16 per year. So this, Mr. Speaker, is acknowledgement of the constitutional arrangements and these countries of the realm that we're removing this barrier that exists for these people that have to be resident and present in New Zealand. So it gives these retirees a lot more flexibility, and it's also about supporting the economic and social development of these countries. We've heard this afternoon about the effects of depopulation, and it's great that these individuals will be able to retire and take their income with them. We also know the hardship that it currently causes for people who have spent their 5 years after 50 and have to return to New Zealand at 65, and the upheaval that causes as well. So this, Mr. Speaker, will be also about individuals taking their cash flow to Niue, Tokelau and the Cook Islands. So they'll be able to spend and contribute to a range of local businesses and help support employment. Also, it's about skills and experience going back to these countries. We know for New Zealand, a lot of young people go and do their OE, gain international skills and experience, and bring it back to this country for our benefit as well. So, Mr. Speaker, what I must say is just to challenge in the minority view for New Zealand First, really they have no shame, but to say, compare this to the generosity of giving full New Zealand superannuation entitlement to non-New Zealand citizens from non-reciprocal pension countries after just 10 years residency. I'd challenge New Zealand First to stand up and show us the data for that. Normally individuals have to spend 10 years to get 50% and 20 years to get 100%. This is just typical migrant bashing of New Zealand First. Absolutely appalling, and especially a bill like this, Mr. Speaker. So if I can conclude, Mr. Speaker, this bill is about freedom and choice. This bill is about countries of the realm, and this bill is about supporting economic development and social development of these countries. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.